Okay, and this is now tarot lesson number 32. And today is about randomness. So, a long time ago, 2,500 years ago, you had King Xerxes. And I don't know how it's spelt in the original language, but that's his name, Xerxes. Right, he was a son of, I can't remember who. Anyway, his army was conquering Asia Minor, Greece, like in the Mediterranean. And his forces had landed on Greece, on part of Greece. And the inhabitants of ancient Athens wanted to know how they could stop the army or how they could save themselves. So they went to the oracle at Delphi. And they asked the oracle, and the oracle said, you build a wooden wall, and that'll stop Xerxes. And at first sight, or at first thought, there's no point in building a wooden wall, because all Xerxes has to do is burn it down, and there's no protection. But if you trust the oracle, you realize, okay, the oracle said build a wooden wall. There must be some truth, some idea in connection with this wooden wall. And so somebody, obviously I don't know who it was, but the Greeks built a navy of wooden ships, and then they used the navy to block the army's supply chain. So some of the army had landed in Greece, but they were not able to get food and weapons because of the wooden wall that the Greeks built. And so Xerxes' invasion of Greece failed. And so history changed. History would have been very different if the Greeks hadn't paid attention to the oracle. So, randomness. Because build a wooden wall seems kind of a random idea. So, if you've got a new deck of cards and you shuffle them, you'll maybe do a spread and get, like, let's say do a Celtic cross and you get the 4 of swords, the 5 of swords, the 6 of swords, the 7 of swords. And you think, okay, did I get all these 4 in sequence because I didn't shuffle properly, or because that's the actual answer? So I think what you do with a new deck of cards is you do this. You get whatever the deck is and you spread it around, but not just spread it, but you actually deal it across the whole table. And then it means that when you, and don't know how long this is going to take me, so I'll do it quickly. But when you deal out each card individually, and maybe you're thinking about the tarot as you do this, but ultimately you get all the cards spread out and in different places. Okay, I'm just rushing through this. And then you gather them up. So what we've got now is actually a much more mixed deck than we would have got if we had just stuck to shuffling cards. So maybe it'd be a good idea to do this like once a week or once a month with a deck you've been in the habit of using, just to give it a proper mix and a proper shuffle. So, and then you shuffle. So now it's properly mixed. So we want a random card. So if you pick a card at random and we get the 3 of Pentacles upside down and you don't know what to say, it's a bit like not trusting the oracle. So if you get the 3 of Coins upside down, that's the answer. And we're supposed to use a bit of imagination and thought and I don't want to say intuition because that can descend into guesswork. So you use imagination and knowledge maybe, or your own experience, or maybe you use your feelings and get an idea of what's going on with a particular card. But I think the point I want to make is you're meant to trust the card and assume that it's giving you the right answer, even if you don't see it. Sometimes you'll turn a card like this one, Knight of Pentacles, let's say, and you immediately know what to say. or you've got an immediate idea of what's going on or what the answer to the question would be. But let's say you get this Three of Pentacles reversed and you don't know what to say. Rather than pick another card for confirmation, which I never do, because I think it's much more valuable to make yourself answer the question based on the card that you got initially, rather than go. If you go somewhere else and for confirmation, you're just going to see what you want to see or remember what you always thought. But I don't know how much value it actually is. Whereas I think there's great value in looking at the card and figuring out what it's actually telling you or what it might mean. Because if you trust the oracle, then if you don't trust the oracle, then Xerxes invades Greece and the history of civilization changes. That didn't take as long as I thought it might take. So rather than make this short, I can't think of what to do. I was just watching this video about doing live streaming and how they said if you're going to do a live stream, have a schedule or an idea of what you want to talk about. And I thought, well, that wouldn't happen to me. I always know what to talk about, but here I am. I have no idea what to say now. So it's tarot lessons, so we pick a card. What do we get today? The Eight of Pentacles. What's that? The value and the importance of keeping at something and sticking with it and doing more of it. And maybe what's important with this particular card as well is making small improvements each time you do something. And repetition is valuable. Repetition is useful. The only thing is I don't have a question. So let me ask, if you were here just now, I'd say to you, what question can I ask? So maybe, what about randomness? So sometimes it's handy to imagine that the tarot is some kind of being, right? It's not all powerful, not that kind of being, but it's a bit like, maybe it's a being, it's got opinions, or it'll tell you things if you ask it. So maybe what you do is, can you give me an opinion or an idea or a comment about the idea of randomness? And what do I get? Yeah, that's Three of Coins again. How did that happen? You know, it was there and then I shuffled again and picked up and again. So what about randomness? I think that in itself, because we've got a card of expertise, and you've got somebody here who knows what they're about, I imagine, and is elevated above the other people. So maybe with randomness, you get the chance to access higher knowledge. I'm saying higher because he's actually higher up than these people. So maybe with randomness, or if you trust the tarot itself and assume that the tarot is right, even if you don't like it, or even if you don't get it, or even if you don't see how, or even if you don't approve of the answer that it's giving you. Yeah, I think we have to go with what the tarot tells us and assume that it's right and work with the information that we get. Because this sort of brings in the idea of you can answer a question and it turns out to be wrong. What do you do? Does that mean that you're useless or the tarot's useless? I don't think so. It just means that the person got the right answer at that time. So if they want to know, will I pass an exam, and you say yes and it'll be okay, but they fail the exam and it's not okay, were you wrong? Yes, you were wrong in one way, but what thoughts developed in the mind of the questioner who was going to do the exam, that they eventually ended up failing? So I don't think you can ask a question and get a right or wrong answer, and that's it. It's not like a box, and you put it in the box and you shut the box and you put the box away, because life is going on all the time, and we respond to what we're told and what we notice and what we hear and what we imagine and what we want. And so your life, anybody's life, is a whole complicated, complex expansion or development. And so if you're the reader and you get the wrong answer, that can seem like a big deal to you and a big thing, a big mistake that you made. But maybe it's not that. I don't want to say it's not that important. Maybe it's not that crucial that you got the wrong answer because of what else happened to the questioner, or the ideas that came to them as a result of being told, yes, you'll pass the exam, or no, you won't pass the exam. So I think with randomness, the comment for randomness was, if you are willing to go along with randomness, you end up in good shape, and you end up with something of lasting value. Because coins is money, but coins also represents value. And here we've got the coins. I don't know what the word is. They're not engraved in the. They're actually part of the building, or part of the body of the building. They've been incorporated. And incorporate, remember, you've got the word CORP, which means the body, right? So the three coins have been incorporated. They've been made into part of the body of the building. And so randomness will give you lasting value, or something that will last, because buildings made of stone are going to last. I mean, ultimately they can fall down or be destroyed, but they're there for a couple of 1,000 years anyway, which is probably good enough, because 2,000 years from now we'll all be gone, probably. Okay, so that was kind of a ramble, but hopefully you got something out of it. So today is Thursday. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, back on Sunday. So in the meantime, have a good day or evening. Bye bye. Okay.